We are here! In this video, we're going to cover the final feminine archetype, aka the lover. And I'm so excited to get into this one because similarly to the Maiden and Guide, although for different reasons, the lover is usually very misunderstood in today's society. And you may be missing out on an incredibly valuable part of yourself. So let's get into it. Hi there, I'm Antonie, and I empower female entrepreneurs and goal-oriented women to break free from the disempowering societal norms, keeping you stuck in self-sabotage, people-pleasing, and burnout, so that you can pursue your passions with self-trust, meaning, and self-worth, knowing that 80% of success is mindset. So to build your dream life, you first need to grow your beliefs, your thoughts, and your habits. So if that sounds like the thing for you, make sure to click the subscribe button and keep on watching. So in case you're completely new to the channel and you've just landed into this video is the final part of a video series that I've been doing about the 7 feminine archetypes. And these archetypes are a bit like characters or personas, or essentially parts of your personality. And they will show up in different ways in your life, and they can play different roles in your life. And we all have access to all 7 feminine archetypes. And to live a truly passionate and empowered life, we need to tap into all of them on a regular basis in some way or another. But the way that you tap into them and to what extent you tap into them is going to be different for each person. And that is part of the unique blueprint that makes up your unique personality. So once you're done with this video, don't forget to check out the other videos about the other archetypes to fully embody the multifaceted woman that you are and start feeling passionate and empowered in your own life. So let's just quickly cover the 7 feminine archetypes. So they are the huntress, the sage, the intuitive, the regent, the mother, the maiden and guide, and finally, the lover. So on a whole, some of the main qualities and strengths of the lover archetype is that she is magnetic, passionate, sensual, confident, and empowered. And she embodies her feminine qualities and feels confident and comfortable with her body, emotions, and sexuality. The lover is spontaneous, charismatic, and generally incredibly beautiful and captivating. She's all about deep, enriching experiences and lives fully in the present moment. And she will usually fall in love deeply and often, and will usually be someone who's in a relationship and who's pretty quick to move on to the next relationship if a relationship ends. And she will usually be an extroverted person and brings love, passion, and fun into any relationship and any interaction. Now here's what I want you to know about the lover. Now everything that we've covered so far about her qualities and her strengths are incredible and powerful qualities. And most women out there could benefit from tapping more into this archetype within them. To really experience your life, to live in the present, to feel, embody, and attract more passion, joy, and confidence into your life. But in today's slightly clueless world, the lover has kind of gotten a bad rep for being hypersexual and someone who's just all about sex and flirting, and essentially a Marilyn Monroe that people then end up looking down on. And that women who predominantly resonate with the lover archetype will often feel like they have to suppress that part of themselves or kind of not show up fully and authentically because of the ways that society deems them. Now, first of all, I want to highlight that none of the qualities that we mentioned about the lover are bad. It's not a bad thing to be connected to your body, your sexuality, and be confident in who you are. Let's face it, those are powerful qualities. And just a note, if you feel like you struggle a lot with actually appreciating and understanding the value of your feminine energy, and you listen to what I said and you're kind of like, not so sure, I don't know, I don't think that's a good part, then I really recommend checking out a recent video that I made that's all about the feminine energy and why society has been lying to you about your feminine energy. If you feel like that's something you need to cover, then don't forget to check that one out as well. But now, although those qualities are incredibly powerful and magnetic, that is not all that the lover can do. And I think it's important that we start truly and fully understanding the lover's qualities and strengths. One, because women who struggle to tap into this archetype shouldn't just wait until they're in the bedroom to tap into this archetype. And two, because women who embody the lover archetype a lot already need to understand that there is more to this archetype than sexuality. And you deserve credit for that. So the other parts of the lover archetype that people usually neglect to mention is that she's an incredible communicator. She has the power to influence people in powerful ways when you have the right training and the right skills. She is charismatic and she's an attentive listener. And one of the books that covers very deeply on the feminine archetypes, and I'll link it in the description box below, and that this video series has been partially based on, shares so many stories about Aphrodite, the goddess that the lover archetype is based on, and how she influenced and convinced people to do things or believe things with her natural powers of influence and communication, and understanding people on a deeper level, because she is deeply connected to the emotional and to people's needs. And so she can resonate and influence people on an emotional level, not just on a logical level. And the truth is, human beings are emotional creatures. We make decisions based on emotion way more than we care to admit. And now, a lot of the stories about Aphrodite, the goddess, aren't necessarily depicted in a really good way. She didn't necessarily use her powers for good all the time. So just to keep in mind that you can be more evolved than an ancient Greek goddess. That's perfectly fine. But all in all, these stories show just how powerful, magnetic, and influencing the lover archetype can be. On top of that, the lover archetype is incredibly creative and innovative, meaning she's someone who's not afraid of change. So, for example, when a new company policy comes along, she's not going to get scared or demotivated like most people. She's excited and grateful for the novelty. And as a creative and innovative person, she has the ability to see things, see new solutions, and opportunities in ways that most people can't. And she can also produce incredibly creative ideas and results, especially within areas such as art and marketing, and anywhere where it's helpful to have a more creative and visual mind, meaning she can be an incredibly powerful entrepreneur as well. And these additional qualities about the lover are super important for you to know. Because one, she brings more to the table than sex and her sensual, flirtatious side. And so for women who need to tap a bit more into their feminine energy and start appreciating it rather than seeing it as a bad thing, because that's what society will have you believe, it's super important to know that yes, she has those parts to her, but no, it doesn't need to be a hypersexual, unhealthy kind of representation that will generally happen in media and the way that people deem people who have this archetype predominantly within them. But it's also super powerful to know that that's not all that there is to her. And two, it's important to know because this archetype has incredible powers that won't just benefit you in romantic endeavors, but it can benefit you and empower you in any relationship, in job interviews, in negotiations, in brainstorming sessions, in creative aspects of your job, or to enhance your creativity in your hobbies, or even to have more fun and love around your kids, or simply to actually fully experience your life and live in the present. This is truly a magnetic and vibrant archetype, and it's time we start recognizing that. So even though this archetype is super valuable and powerful, as with all of the archetypes, she has some potential downfalls. And leaning into all of the different archetypes will help you balance out those downfalls. So the first potential shadow side of the lover is that she can be a bit too spontaneous and struggles with stability, remaining committed long term. So she can often move on from a relationship once the initial spark has gone out, or once it becomes too complicated. She can sometimes forget to plan for the future, and can be the kind of person who's out of cash at the end of the month. Or she can struggle to have stability in her career, because she moves on or kind of sabotages herself once it gets too boring or just interferes with her current wants in the present moment. Another potential shadow side of the lover archetype is that she can be a bit of a whirlwind, meaning that she has the capacity of being fully present, and she will generally have a big personality. But then she can forget to hold on to that presence and actually ground herself. So she can kind of become someone who's fully engaged and super passionate in a conversation, but then 2 minutes later she suddenly moves on and gets distracted by something else and forgets all about what she was doing. So she can have a really captivating experience onto another person, meaning the person that she's talking to can feel like, oh my god, this person is really listening to me and they're really engaged and I feel so seen by this. But then suddenly the lover moves on and you're like, what happened? And then you just feel completely neglected and unseen and you have no idea what just happened. And women who live a lot in the lover archetype can face quite a few challenges when it comes to interactions with other people. And so sometimes she can end up getting unwanted attention because she's beautiful, she's confident, she will often wear sexy clothes, and therefore might need to tap a bit into other archetypes to plan ahead and think about the future, not just the present moment, to make sure that if she's going out for the night, she has a friend to go home with, so that she doesn't end up in an unsafe position. Now, I just want to clarify when I say this, it's not to say that it's a woman's fault if something happens to her, because that is as far away from what I believe is possible. But I'm only saying it to highlight the importance of taking care of yourself and making sure that you're doing what you can to be as safe as possible in a world that isn't always safe for women. Another challenge she might face in interactions with other people is that she could be insensitive to someone else's feelings and think that it's all just a game, but to the other person, it's actually not. So she could do this in flirting, and she'll flirt and she'll show interest, and the other person thinks that, okay, we're actually like getting to know each other and we're connecting, but to her, she'll move on in a second because to her, it's all just a big game, while for the other person, they were actually getting invested in this, or they really care about her, or they thought that they were on the same page and they thought that, okay, we want to have a relationship, while for her this is just like, no, this was just for fun, I'm not interested. And so it's also important to tap into your empathy and your strategic mindset and use your communication abilities to make sure that you clearly communicate what your intentions are, so that you can make sure that you're both either playing the same game or you're on the same page. And another potential shadow side within interactions with other people is that she could end up using her powers for evil, meaning that she uses her captivating, beautiful, magnetic personality just to toy with people and play games, and essentially go too far in thinking that she's excused from bad behavior because of her beauty and her influence on other people. And this is essentially what the goddess Aphrodite often ended up doing. She kind of used her powers not for good and didn't really care because she had the power to do it anyway. And then just another quick downfall that the lover archetype can fall into is essentially falling into caring a bit too much on what's on the outside. So caring about luxury or beauty or everything that's external, and forgetting about being a good person on the inside as well. And also connecting to herself and other people on a deeper level, and not just staying at the surface level and not just moving away the second something gets complicated, and actually sticking with something and actually getting connected with her own values and her intuition, and connecting with others through empathy. So when it comes to examples in media, I wanted to show you some examples of the kind of typical lover that usually gets represented in media and that we usually attach as kind of the lover archetype. Then I also wanted to show you some other examples that won't necessarily strike people as the lover to begin with, but that actually has very much the lover within them. So the first example of the lover archetype in media is Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. Now I just want to make a note that this character also has a lot of the Huntress in her, and you can see that these two are very, very strong within this character. But Lorelai is also someone who struggles to remain in long-term relationships and really commit to them. And she kind of passes through quite a few relationships and usually kind of runs away whenever her feelings become too real and too intense, and when she starts caring and feeling vulnerable. And she is also someone who kind of comes in as a whirlwind and has a big personality, but doesn't necessarily always follow through. And she is definitely someone who is way more emotional than logical and will make decisions based on how she feels and not care so much about what makes logical sense. Another perfect example of the lover archetype in media is Tanya in the Mamma Mia movies. Now, this character is sensual, she's confident, she loves luxury, and she's someone who falls in love rather frequently. And another very similar example of the lover archetype in media is Samantha in Sex and the City. And she is so similar to Tanya. They're sensual, they're confident, and Samantha is not afraid of showing her sexuality and being confident in her body. And she is not afraid of being open about her relationships and the way that she lives her life. And with this character in particular, you can also see how the lover is in many ways an amazing feminist, because she simply believes that women should have the same rights as men do, and that they should be able to live as freely and passionately as men do. Another more typical example of the lover archetype in media is the character Sienna in the Netflix show Bridgerton. This character is sensual, she's an artist, she's passionate, she's deep feeling, and she wants the freedom to be who she is and not to have to try and fit in to the strict box of society that's filled with a bunch of expectations. Another example of the lover archetype in media is Georgia from the TV show Ginny and Georgia. Now, this character is a bit similar to Lorelai, where she also has a lot of the huntress in her, and she has a lot of that independent, fiery spirit to her. But she also has that big personality. She has that ability to influence people and be incredibly present with people, but then it's also kind of that whirlwind that will just suddenly move on to the next thing. And because of her way of understanding people and connecting with their emotional needs, and being that intense communicator, she is a bit of a social chameleon and will just use her skills to adapt into any different situation and make herself appear in whatever way that the other person might accept her more and give her what she wants. Now, some other more unexpected examples of the lover archetype in media include the character Ruth from the movie The Longest Ride. Now, this is a very non-stereotypical example of the lover archetype because she is not necessarily very sensual or that kind of flirtatious person, but she's creative, she's passionate, she's an extroverted person, and she's incredibly bubbly and full of love and life. Another slightly more unexpected example of the lover archetype in media is Mindy from the Netflix show Emily in Paris. And this character is also creative, and she's one of those artistic people. She's very much someone who lives in the moment. She has that chic, colorful sense of style. She's extroverted, she's bubbly, she's happy, and is usually someone who's game for something new. Another example of the lover archetype in media is Paula from the TV show Sweet Magnolias. This character is also someone who's very loving. She's present. And she's someone who helps other people tap into the more passionate, spontaneous, open-minded parts of themselves. And she's a creative being, and she's visual, she's an artist. And she's not so focused on external goals or achievements. So ways that you can start activating more of the lover archetype in your life is firstly to simply fully experience the moment. And be present within the moment and really savor your experiences. So whether that's taking it slower and really savoring the meal that you're having, or really taking a moment and appreciating what you're doing, or just feeling the sunshine on your skin, or leaning in a little bit longer while you're hugging someone you love. But it's all just about bringing a bit more awareness to the present moment and really sitting in that moment and experiencing it. And a part of doing that will generally be to slow down and to live a little bit slower and not hurry on to the next thing all the time and not just kind of always be in this go, go, go mode when it's just like getting on to one thing and then moving on to the next and moving on and just going all through the day. But actually pausing, slowing down, and experiencing the present moment. Another way to start activating more of the lover archetype within you is really just to start expressing your more feminine and confident side. So wear sensual and fitted clothing that actually fits along with your body and isn't just one big baggy shirt that shows nothing of what you've got going on. Wear a bit of makeup. Start swaying your hips while you walk. And again, start slowing down in what you do and how you do it. Another way to tap more into the lover archetype within you and to strengthen this archetype within you is to learn more about and practice your skills in communication and charisma, and essentially become a smarter, more empowered, and attentive communicator. And another way of tapping more into the lover archetype in your life is to start tapping into your more creative side through art, crafts, cooking or baking, gardening, and DIY projects. Or actually pursue a more creative career or side hustle within marketing, design, writing, music, arts, and so on. And within that, remember that for the lover, it's not about achievements and results. It's about the experience. It's about the process. So you don't have to worry if you're not a creative person. It doesn't have to be something that necessarily generates an amazing result that you can sell online for lots of money. It's not about that. It's simply about experiencing it and tapping into that creative side and letting your brain work in a completely different way and being kind of so consumed in the present moment that you don't notice everything else and that you're just really into this experience and this practice that you're doing. So just remember that creativity isn't about the result, it's about the process. And now remember that we all have access and should access all of the 7 feminine archetypes. We also usually have one predominant archetype that we resonate with the most. And that is kind of our leading actress, who we just naturally lean a bit more into. So if you haven't already, make sure to take the free quiz to discover which one is yours. And in case you've taken it before, I've recently made an adjustment to the quiz so that now you can see the breakdown of the different archetypes and how much you resonate with each one through your answers, which won't only give you an idea of who is your leading archetype, but also gives you an idea of which archetypes could use a bit more activation in your life. So make sure to check out the quiz. And then finally, before we wrap up, I need to mention, like I've done in some of the other videos, that you are ultimately the consciousness that decides which of the archetypes to lean into and when and how much and in what ways. And although it may not seem like it to you, they each hold incredible value and can guide you to live with more authenticity, passion, and empowerment. So imagine that within your psychology, you have a round table of advisors with unique insights, experiences, and points of view that you can learn from, benefit from, and utilize to make authentic, aligned, and empowered decisions in your life. And the topic of feminine archetypes is one that I feel like has truly revolutionized my life and the way that I approach it. And I'm super, super excited to dive even deeper into this topic with you in future videos. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on the next one. And I really hope this video brought you some value, and if it did, I'd love for you to click the like button as it really helps me out. And don't forget to leave me a comment on whether you took the quiz and what was your results. And until next time, make sure to check out these videos and don't forget to take the quiz. Thanks for watching.